Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. My next guest is Rishi Rana, the Chief Executive Officer at Ciara. Ciara revolutionizes the way businesses transform and optimize their customer experiences. Ciara's AI based CX transformation platform empowers enterprises to deliver flawless interactions across voice, video, digital, and chatbot experiences. With Ciara, businesses improve customer journeys through continuous innovation while reducing cost and minimizing risk. With a 96% customer retention rate and world-class net promoter score, today's leading global brands trust Ciara every day to deliver customer smiles at scale. Today's episode is sponsored by Ciara. Our guest, Rishi, brings over 25 years of experience in scaling businesses towards success, driving innovation, and achieving operational excellence. He has a proven track record of successfully integrating acquisitions by crafting and executing visionary strategies that harness capabilities and maximize efficiencies to drive bookings, revenue, margin growth, and operational excellence. Prior to Ciara, Rishi was the executive vice president at Power School, where he led the strategy and growth of 3 separate business units. In that capacity, he played a pivotal role in expanding the overall business, growing revenue both organically and through multiple acquisitions, ultimately achieving a record high market valuation. In his free time, Rishi is an avid hiker and runner. He's been practicing meditation for several years. When not traveling, he spends time with his wife and 2 children at home in Texas. Today, we are talking about what Chief Experience Officers should be thinking about for the next 3 to 6 months to stay competitive and resilient. We're talking about how customer experience is often shaped behind the scenes and how to get CX right at scale. We're talking about AI, and we're talking about navigating times of uncertainty. Please enjoy this special episode with Rishi Rana. Rishi, welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. Where are you calling in from in the world today?
I'm in Austin, Texas, with 100 degrees or more heat right now.
Oh no, yes, that I love Texas, but those morning and the evening heat is not always fun. How do you beat the heat? What do you do?
I don't beat the heat actually. So I take my time when the sun is down to go for a run. That's my biggest hobby, continuing to run either early mornings or late evenings.
Yeah, Austin is such a great place to run. Along the river is so nice. I've recently done that myself. Is that one of your paths?
One of the paths, it's a little far away from where I live, but yeah, I think I have trails where I live. So going up and down the mountains and the trails is my sort of time where I spend most.
Increasingly, as I do these interviews and I interview CEOs and people like you, they all mention the need to find time for themselves to just kind of zone out. And I read that you do meditation, so I think it's great and very apropos as we talk more about leadership. But before we dive in to our conversation, let's get to know you a little bit better. You have a long career in tech. Can you give us some of the highlights of your career and how you came to be CEO of Ciara?
Sure. Yeah, I think in a nutshell, my career is over 25, 26 years. Half of it comes out of Microsoft. That's where I started off. I had a small role prior to that at a company called Micrographics, where I started, but post that it's all Microsoft. After I left, when with Microsoft, it was more in starting off with engineering and then product and other places. Moved out of Microsoft and have been running businesses for from a private equity perspective. I took the chance the first time not knowing anything about it, but I've enjoyed my journey since then. This is my 4th run in running a business from a private equity led perspective, uh, and uh, and really intrigued. Was happy to jump on from a CRS perspective. Look, I think as being whether it's engineering, whether it's product management, I've been solving problems from a customer perspective, customer experience perspective, and I couldn't have found a better uh, place from Ciara where we are solving what is customer experience across the globe, and we have the who's who, the Fortune 1000 companies that we are working with. So it's been an exciting ride for the last 2 years.
Well, let's talk about the ride and where you've landed now. It's such an incredible time to be in customer experience and technology because of AI. From your perspective, what are some of the biggest shifts that you're seeing in CX right now?
Oh yeah, thanks for that question. I mean, look, I think I'd break it down into a couple of shifts that I'm seeing and we are seeing today in CX. I think the rise of AI agents, should I say the AI anxiety? AI is everywhere, but the biggest shift isn't just the AI itself; it's the move from a scripted, dynamic, agentic experiences. Customers now interact and want to interact at all scales, multimodal or omni-channel. Uh, with AI directly, and they expect it to just work, not that I have to wait in the line for 30 minutes. The flip side, well, obviously, the enterprises are struggling to ensure trust and compliance and performance are also keeping up with that expectations. So should I say that that AI part of it, where customers, I believe, interacting with Alexas and Series of the world, are ahead of the times and where the enterprises are moving to catch up, which creates a massive, I would say, an assurance gap. The second piece is certainly that whole journey experience and not just touch points. So traditional CX a couple of years ago, or should I say 5+ years ago, was obsessed with NPS and isolated channel feedback. What we are seeing again is that shift in the journey centric, where companies want to optimize that end-to-end flow. Whether I'm coming in from a chatbot or I'm picking up the phone or I'm coming from my iPad, that's where it's that AI-led journey studios that needs to be built in order for looking at it holistically. And last but not the least, look, I think I do see CX in all the boardroom conversations. The stakes are just higher. One poor digital experience, any experience can be a cause for churn. It can go viral. It hits brands' perception, can cost millions. So between those three, all the way starting from AI agents to the journey across all the touch points and CX being front and center for as a boardroom discussion, are the shifts that I'm seeing as based on where we are today.
I love that, Rishi, but I do have to say your AI anxiety hit it right on the nose. I feel that out in the world, everyone is in a mad dash to figure out what is this AI thing and how do I put it to work for my customer experience strategy. You've talked about a shift from digital transformation to agentic AI transformation. What does that mean in a practical sense for enterprise leaders?
No, with this, I mean, again, thank you, Blake, for that question. Look, I think it makes me ponder around, as I mentioned, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the enterprise leaders were, and me as well, as part of running those businesses that I talked about, was about digital transformation, moving from paper to digital or moving from on-prem to cloud, automating that workflow, scaling to get to cloud. That wave was about speed, scale, standardization. What we are seeing today is that shift, a shift that is from an automation of tasks to orchestration of that intelligence. Now, that's the agentic AI transformation. My simple prediction in the next 10 years, the board discussions in the last 10 years was all about digital transformation. The next 10 years are all going to be about agentic transformation. And in that practical terms, it means that leaders are no longer just implementing software, they're deploying autonomous agents that can reason, learn, take action, and even interact with customers in real time.
Even hearing you say that, it sounds risky that they're autonomous, that you're going to have to really trust these agents, that they're going to handle your customers carefully. Let's talk about some of the hidden risks with Gen AI and conversational AI and customer experience. How can companies mitigate these risks without slowing down innovation?
True. I think you rightly point out. Look, I think there are multiple risks, not just one, and we all have to be understanding that and making sure that there are proper guardrails. So one of the biggest hidden risks in generative AI and conversational AI is hallucination. When AI responds confidently with incorrect and misleading information, others that are there from an autonomous decision making that you pointed out, Blake, is making at that scale those new risks, bias and regulatory gaps, fines, and the brand damage. There are multiple examples that are there across the globe. So those AI models, should I say, unintentionally reflect or amplify certain prejudices, damaging customer equity. Uh, there's a lack of traceability at times, making those systems can't show why, what happened, and that erodes what is trust. To mitigate that, I mean, again, and that's what I feel is the problem, as you were talking about. Now, what do we do to mitigate it? But I think mitigate is without slowing down innovation. Smart companies will be built on from an AI trust perspective. You have the guardrails, you have transparency, real-time validation, human in the loop systems, those hybrid customer experiences where you go from your chatbot or voice bot to the human agent as well. Innovation does not mean that one has to be reckless. Look, we all as humans have innovated for the last 20 years where we are today, and we're going to continue to innovate with the right architecture so one can move and still be held accountable. Uh, from Sierra's perspective, I think that's where we are maniacally focused. I'm maniacally focused, is that assurance layer that will come on the top. So as enterprises move towards that, we're saying by testing and monitoring and validating those experiences, we are providing that governance so that there is a safety net provided. Again, empowering enterprises to move towards with safety with AI, again, delivering that real-time testing, monitoring, governance, optimization that is required. So I'm a big proponent of that, but I'm also a proponent of making sure that one has to have the guardrails and transparency built into the systems in order to deploy generative AI.
Rishi, it seems like the testing is one of the most important pieces to make sure everything is going to go well when the show starts, that you're not going to release some kind of AI that's going to hallucinate. How do you balance rapid innovation with the need for governance, compliance, and customer protection?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think balancing innovation, look, with governance is isn't it? I see. I think it's not one or the other. It's about designing both in terms of from day one. The fastest companies are not going to be reckless. They have built trusted systems that scale. That means embedding compliance, ethical guardrails, and customer protection into the architecture, not bolting on to it later or not thinking about it later. Uh, I would say think about a high-speed train as an example and an analogy, rather, where you need speed. You also need brakes. You also need signals. You also need to stay on those tracks, those guardrails that I'm talking about, because without them, speed is a risk. So if you're just moving fast on that high-speed train, so I would say, and all the leaders that I talk to in the industry, our customers, our partners, and also a lot of my friends who are running our CEOs for different other companies, the best leaders are moving fast but moving responsibly. So that's where I feel the need for from a platform where there is assurance provided, there is testing, as you mentioned, that is going to be very critical. But there is continuous testing and monitoring to bring that transparency, explainability, building those safeguards that are required as opposed to jumping into that. Some other thoughts that come to my mind are obviously are, there are some good uh, thumb rules as well. A lot of solutions I see out there are providing zero effort promises, out of box agents that can keep running on day one. There is real autonomy without oversight. So there are certain promises from other vendors, and we have to be very careful as leaders while we want to move fast, but responsibly so that we don't end up in a brand issue or otherwise.
My husband recently asked me to watch Mission Impossible with him, and it reminds me of Tom Cruise. I think the most recent one, where he's just like constantly dangling off this high speed train that's going to nowhere. So, you don't want your brand to be like Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. You want it to be on the tracks, like you said. Um, Rishi, how can AI and automation be used not just for efficiency, but to build trust and loyalty with customers?
Yeah, look, I think the Tom Cruise example is pretty good. Look, you don't want to go with that speed, but you want to look like Tom Cruise, maybe. So, or your products and your solutions learn to be as Tom Cruise is. So, I think looking at from that angle, look, AI and automation isn't about just cutting costs. They're about these powerful tools built trust at scale. When used right, they make experiences faster, more consistent, and more personalized. Like everybody wants a personalized CX experience, and that's where the world is shifting towards. But the real shift is when that AI is transparent, again, empathetic, and accountable. Trust, when built with customers, feel understood and controlled. So the goal isn't about efficiency or cutting costs. It's about designing AI that listens, learns, and respect those customers. Whether we think about every company out there wants a higher first contact resolution or faster, more accurate responsiveness or responses that are coming in even from your voice bots and chat bots. So leading to those interactions are going to be critical. Again, consistency across all the channels, no matter where I'm coming from, whether I'm picking up my phone, whether I'm going on the app, whether I'm going in through the chat bot that is on the web, etc. So that transparency, compliant interactions, no matter where you come from, is going to be critical. Uh, Without looking at it from a cost-cutting only initiative, but the efficiency, I'm sure, Blake, you have experienced it. I've experienced it a lot of times, whether we're trying to change a flight or we're trying to do anything else, we're put on that hold for 30 minutes and or saying that, hey, we'll call you back in 45 minutes. And I really don't even have 45 minutes to express what I need help with. And that's where I'm talking about from in problem solving, efficiency, consistency, no matter which channel you come from, you're able to resolve that efficiently for the end customer.
Yeah, long wait times, to me, this is just the low point of customer experience when companies leave their customers on hold on the phone. Like, aren't we beyond that? Customer experience is often shaped behind the scenes through testing, monitoring, and proactive problem solving. What does it take, Rishi, to get that right at scale?
Yeah, no, I think look, customer experience. You defined it very well. Great customer experience doesn't start at the front end. It's engineered behind the scenes, uh, at scale. It is that continuous testing, real time monitoring, and proactive detection of issues before the customers feel them. I, as a customer to any of the vendors, I would love for that to be there and personalized at scale. So it's not just about fixing what's broken, but it's about designing and anticipating what to adapt. The companies, that we are working with, and to get their CX customer experience right is always on, always improving, and never left to chance. I mean, those are the three mantras that we provide from our perspective as we redefine their journeys end to end. Look, delivering great CX starts behind the scenes. We have to think like customers, but test like engineers. And that's where, again, Ciara comes in, that will help you define the journey, but help you test it like an engineer, simulating those real across voice, digital, the emerging AI channels. Uh, it's not just one and done effort either, because that's continuous. Everything is going to continuously change. And are you on top of it real time? uh, there's certainly, I advise to a lot of people, there's outside in visibility. Heck, as we are running Ciara, there's a lot of outside in visibility I need, uh, in addition to talking to customers. Otherwise, we're sort of based on our assumptions, we are moving forward. Also, I think we talked about AI in the mix. So AI in the mix, it's critical to have that built-in governance, again, compliance, explainability, uh, and last but not the least is accountability. I think just to make sure that at Ciara, I mean, I believe it affects the customer. It's everyone's job. Scale comes from clarity, ownership, and shared commitment to that excellence. So when we look at customer experience, it's just not at the front end. It is behind the scenes and it is continuous.
Rishi, as a leader, one of the things you seem to focus on in your personal life is clarity, like you just said, whether that's through your running, your meditation. And it seems like clarity, not everyone has this gift of clarity, but once you have clarity as a leader, everything just becomes really easy. Decisions are very easy to make. So, as CEO, what principles guide you on how you lead when there are times of change and uncertainty like we're experiencing today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very good question. Look, every conversation that I have had these days start with the same question: Is AI agent just a hype or is it real demand? Most recently, I think in speaking with a lot and Blake, uh, folks who have interviewed me like you, this question is the top of the mind. And let me try to move all of us past this noise. I mean, the truth is demand is real, but we are in very early innings. This is back to the internet of the mid 90s. Everyone knew it was going to change everything, but most companies struggled with where to start. And we are at that exact moment. And that's what I would say. So the education phase is right now, executives are struggling with fundamental questions of what, why, and how. Now, the what part of the conversation happens in every boardroom. Companies are see the potential of to deploy those AI agents across, whether it's operations, finance, HR, and certainly customer experience everywhere. But the smart leaders know you can't just boil the ocean to drink that glass of water. That's focused on ROI and measurable impact. Then comes in the what part of it. So if you have defined that, then comes in what is the why part of it. The why is clearer than ever. Boards are now, as I see, asking tough questions. CEOs who ignore this transformation are risking that irrelevance. The pressure is real, and the budgets should be allocated if they are not by now. So what you've got the why, and then comes the how part of it. How are you going to go about it? And that's the biggest challenge, I believe, with so many vendors out there claiming to have that solution. Enterprises are drowning in those options. That's why we have so many proof of concepts right now. Companies are testing, learning. Based on what I know, look, I think once organizations crack the code on prioritization and implementations, this demand is going to continue to explode. I'm thinking it is 10x growth from where we are today. The companies that figure it out first are the ones that are going to go beyond the hype and focus on that real business outcomes. And that's where I think from a Ciara perspective, I'm focused. We are focused towards it from that execution clarity, that shared accountability, but making sure that we are providing that to our customers.
Rishi, let's hear one lesson that you've learned recently that's changed how you think about customer experience or technology leadership.
Look, I think failures have taught me a lot of things in life. One lesson that comes to my mind: speed alone isn't enough. Clarity is just as critical. uh, I also feel when we fail, those cracks in our strategy is exposed, and that's critical. So in CX and tech leadership, we often push for moving fast. I believe without that clear alignment and what matters to this customer, speed can take you in the wrong direction. So the real unlock is combining velocity with focus. Velocity is good. Let's not slow down, but with focus, ensuring teams not just building it quickly and putting it out in the market, but building the right things, grounded in those real customer impact.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that you have to stay grounded in the customer impact, like you said, to keep your eye on the ball. Let's close with one question about the future. Looking ahead, Rishi, what excites you most about the future of customer experience and enterprise tech?
Well, yeah, I think we're sitting. I think like we all today are sitting at that cusp of what is AI going to provide, and as I mentioned, people we need to gravitate towards it. We are at the start of that major shift where AI doesn't just sit, it acts. That's the rise of that agentic transformation that I was talking about, is opening new frontiers. And how are we going to serve? How are we going to personalize? How is, or even anticipate the needs before coming in? As an example, if I pick up on a chatbot and I say I need a ticket from Austin to New York, It needs to understand, is it a round trip? It is a business class economy ticket? Is it now? Is it in 2 months from now, etc., etc.? So there are so many things where AI becomes that autonomous trust, becomes that differentiator. So in that AI driven interaction, the brands that will win will be those that customers trust, be accurate, fair, and compliant. And it's not about most of the times, it has to be every time.
That's such a great use case because everyone can relate to needing to book a flight, and so many providers still. You have to go and do the drop down and figure out the airport name. And wouldn't it be nice to just be able to speak into your phone and say, "Get me to New York on a business class flight tomorrow, like late morning," and then just get that exact flight sent to you and booked for you with all of your information populated?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And look, I think Deloitte has predicted that 25% of the enterprises using Gen AI will deploy these agents by 2025. So 25% of the world's Fortune companies are going to deploy, growing to 50% by 2027. And that's where I think all of this needs to be maniacally focused towards, again, being accurate, being fair, being compliant every time, and also anticipating those needs. So
I love that. Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. I really appreciate you stopping by the Modern Customer, and hopefully you'll come back and we'll talk more AI and CX next year. Does that sound good?
that sounds good. Perfect. I mean, Blake, your questions were very thought provoking and really challenged me at times. So I had to gather my thoughts. But thank you again for your time.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate everybody watching the Modern Customer podcast. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to like or subscribe and follow my social content on other platforms where I post content daily, including X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and more.